Hello, it's a lovely good evening this evening to present Camnet Television main news. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. UPND youths urge President Hakainde Hichilema not to relent in discouraging political violence. NAPSA overwhelmed as people prefer physical over online services to claim their money. People are justified for calling on cabinet reshuffles, charges DANTE SAUNDERS. In international news, Kenya's RUTO concerned Sudan crisis may deepen, threatening region. And in sports news, FIFA pledges to offer grants to Women's World Cup contributing clubs.
This Friday, 23rd April 2023, at 20:45 hours, invite your friends, relatives and neighbors to watch our program Against Poverty Eradication Network in Zambia. The panel will comprise of Dr. Reda, agriculture scientist from Egypt. Your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba, join the vision of eradicating poverty out from Zambia and empower over 5 million nationals. Youths of Zambia, your season is here for you to be financially empowered. Watch the program exclusively on Camnet Television Channel 274, on DSTV Channel 98, GoTV and Topstar Channel 106. Inform others. Let's build a strong financial base together. Camnet TV, not just another channel. Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, will this Sunday face Mrs. Football Academy. Time 15 hours. Venue Mrs. Compound. Come and enjoy entertaining football. Camnet Stars Football Club, a team with a vision and formed for greatness.
Now the news in detail. Wrangles have emerged at Lusaka's Friday's Corner in Kalingalinga after traders selling along the road have been asked to vacate by a named filling station as they are said to be a bad sight and bringing business down. Speaking to Camnet News, the traders have questioned on what grounds the filling station is driving them away as they are selling along a road reserve and not the filling station property. Meanwhile, a community development activist, Crispin Chinda, says matters of trading spaces should be resolved once and for all by relevant authorities like the Lusaka City Council, as many citizens have nowhere to trade from. More in this report.
This is what is left of some makeshift shop structures around Friday's Corner in Lusaka after a named filling station has engaged the Lusaka City Council to uproot the structures so that the filling station can plant flowers around the premises where these traders work from. The traders have, however, argued that the land is a road reserve and that they will not move until it is needed for government use and not for the filling station, as it is beyond their boundary. They have bemoaned the lack of adequate trading places in Lusaka, stating that this has left them with no option but to trade along roads, adding that they will not agree to be displaced. The traders deal in the selling of gates, braziers, as well as food items along the roads in the said area.
So now my complaint is, Tinasia 6 meters away from where their plot ended up to the tarmac. So that is 6 meters. It's for not for Petroda, it's for council. So council, they are the one who are supposed to come and tambo 3% ramatiba pasa. Not mambo pisha abantu, what want vote.
I'm again in the minute Punslamona Vana, Punslakona Vana kuma university. Mali wakatupisha hapo hapa. Tizapeleka kuti. Tizaenda kuti sitonzo opunzira awe. Lero si wonza amena kupoterana opunzira. Damina kusindifu opunzira. Ndiye mwana tinapeza initiative kwa tikalo na drama.
Msunga bamayi wanga 100 years batati wana 103. So ndina na meni masunga na wana masi ndiye ni masunga. Bati mwenye anapola kamba tichokepo na tipanyira ntemba. Ati muchokepo. Ine nifana shange ma flowers. So sindanda ula kuliwa vice president na kuliwa president ameni. Ukisha ma flowers na mena hapotela.
Mairo futi wanabura na pesa tatandika mablaya hapa. Wani magulisa mablaya. Wanafika na kunitenga ine na kwenitaka mablaya na kunipeleka ku polisi na kunika msero mujana ngalamo. So wafu nsamaji changani muitichitira so ivi mutititinga so baja vantu ni mafolena ngati press ni yawo press why senza na kama flowers kufika ku jolo simbi so nafaka simbi wanafaka huko mini wazoti boundary ni ya hii ni yao kukusikwa
chinati dabwisa the day before yesterday tinaona chabeba council babwera na motoka kwamba kupanya mabooth without notice nishi muntu alina mkati mwa booth amuza yamba kulonga vintu vako choka hapa nishali booth kwamba kupanya muntu akabena kutosa vintu vake.
The situation has caught the attention of a community development activist Crispin Chinda, who has called for the needs of the traders to be placed first in the absence of adequate trading places.
But Europeans panga marodza so anawapishepo wantu why should they be chased now? And then this trend is ankalati yambira kuno Friday school bakawapisha bali hapa na bonse bali marodza zawapisha and then wantu watu zanda kuti. So this my appeal is that they should reverse whatever they want to do and let the people trade according to how they want to trade.
Camnet News will continue to monitor the matter as attempts to get the side of the Lusaka City Council could not materialize by broadcast time, as phone calls made to LCC Public Relations Manager Chola Mwamba were not answered. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Manager for Marketing and Customer Services in Shamba Muzungu says the water utility company is closing down on erratic supply of water in Lusaka following the implementation of the Kafue project bulk supply, which is aimed at increasing the daily production of water to meet demands of the population. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Muzungu notes that places like Charleston, Avondale and Matero have been plagued with erratic water supply, but notes that these challenges have been reduced since the implementation of the project. Under Phase 1, the Kafue bulk project aims at producing 50 million litres of water per day against the average of 240 million litres being currently produced, with a daily demand for being 440 million litres in Lusaka province. More in this report.
Many places in Lusaka have over the years been known for erratic supply of water, a situation which has been making it difficult to effectively fight diseases like cholera and dysentery. Residents in some areas within the province have been complaining of prolonged lack of water lasting weeks, forcing the water utility company in Lusaka to supply emergency water using bowsers. This is a situation which has been largely attributed to a growing population, making the daily supply of 240 million litres unable to cover the population.
Don't have water for years. Yes. No water. Mr. Mikey Posha should come and see this place. Hey. There is no water in Kamanga. Look at my age. Yes. How do I move to go and get water? There is no water in my house.
7 months no water. 7 months no water.
Since Mr. Mikey Posha is a minister of water development, he was appointed by the president, Mr. Hakainde Chilema, as the water development minister. So what is he doing here? So he should come to our aid, Mr. Mikey Posha.
Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Manager for Public Relations and Customer Services in Shamba Muzungu says the water utility has however increased water supply hours after the implementation of the Kafue bulk project. The project is expected to give an additional 50 million litres of water daily to help in meeting the demand for Lusaka, which is at 440 million litres per day.
Following the operationalization of the Kafue bulk project, we've seen an increase in terms of the production and as well as the supply hours in areas such as Avondale, Charleston, as well as Matero, which were actually more affected before the project was commissioned. So obviously, in terms of the improvements, one of the areas of concern is Kafue. So in Kafue, again, we are happy to report that we have started implementing the project, which will see an improvement of water supply in Shikoswe area of Kafue, as well as Kafue estates.
Phase 1 of the project is being done at a cost of 150 million United States dollars and is funded under the Exim Bank of China. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Chongwe Municipal Council Public Relations Officer Cecilia Mukonkela says a new contractor has been identified to finish constructing a fire station in the district after works stalled when the previous contractor pulled out. In an interview, Ms. Mukonkela says works which started in August 2022 were supposed to be done by December of the same year if the contractor had remained on site. She explains that the works are being done under the Local Government Equalization Fund at a cost of 1.6 million kwacha. Ms. Mukonkela is, however, optimistic that works will be completed by the second quarter of 2023 with the coming on board of a new contractor which will improve fire services within the district.
So the challenge that we had was that the company which was contracted to do the roofings had actually pulled out. However, we managed to re-advertise, and the company has since been identified. So I'm sure by the start of next week, we'll be able to see something coming up. We'll be able to resume the works, and thereafter we'll be able to proceed with the final touches, which is the fixtures as well as the fixtures. I'm sure by the end of this quarter, we'll be able to wind up with the works at the construction site. So we haven't abandoned that assignment. We are on course, and whatever will come up, we'll be able to update the public.
United Party for National Development, UPND National Youth Chairman Gilbert Liswaniso has urged President Hakainde Hichilema not to relent in discouraging youths in the country from indulging in violence because they listen to him more. Mr. Liswaniso tells Camnet News that while party youths continue to work to discourage acts of violence when the president speaks, they listen because they are loyal to him. And Mr. Liswaniso says other political parties must equally heed the president's plea on the need to create a political environment that is devoid of violence. The youth leader says the focus must be directed at ensuring issue-based politics in order to realize inclusive development. Meanwhile, Mr. Liswaniso has disclosed that the youths are looking forward to working with the new Inspector General of Police, Mr. Graffel Musamba, who is in order to restore sanity in the political arena.
Violence, friction, noise is the last area we go to.
Political violence is a cancer that continues to dent Zambia's electoral process, thus diluting the democratic principle of tolerating each other's views and opinions on governance matters. The recent episode of violence is that involving the Socialist Party and the governing United Party for National Development during campaigns in Salonje district in Muchinda ward. Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has been consistent in discouraging youths from engaging in acts of impunity. Thursday, 20th April 2023, United Party for National Development UPND National Youth Chairman Gilbert Liswaniso has urged the President Hakainde Hichilema not to relent from promoting civility in the political fraternity. He says they will continue to create awareness among young people on the need to refrain from political violence despite what he termed as provocation from some opposition political parties. He says there is a need for political players to focus on issue-based politics by providing credible checks and balances in order to develop the country.
I want also to urge the president himself that he should continuously talk about it every day, because what we have seen that the opposition sometimes and many times don't want to provoke those in the ruling party. But we need to know that here we are preaching peace, all of us. We want to see politics of ideas. We want to see the opposition bring out issues affecting the majority Zambians. What are those things on the ground? This is what we want. We want the opposition to focus on things affecting us. When you talk about the high levels of unemployment in our country, you talk about the issue to do with poverty. You talk about the issue to do with meal. These are the issues we want to hear from the opposition, that the government now, through our President Hakainde Hichilema, to tackle those issues and implement. That's what we want to see. So violence for sure, as a national leader who stands for a lot of young people, we don't want it. And we have seen that we have demonstrated. As a young leader, I have demonstrated to ensure that wherever there is a pocket of violence, we rush here, there, and we stop it.
And Mr. Liswaniso has welcomed the appointment of Mr. Graffel Musamba as Inspector General of Police, saying they are looking forward to working with him and the police towards creating a conducive political environment.
We expect him to do what is best. Number one, I won't be, we are in charge as UPND, so we need to work together. He's our IG, we will support him fully. The way we supported the former IG, even this one, we'll support him fully. But we'll be always submit what is on the ground together. No one will point fingers to this one or this, no. But we move together. So that at the end of the day, the president is happy, the opposition is happy, leadership is happy, everybody is happy. What they want the people of Zambia is to see there is non-violence in our country. That's what they want. So it takes us stakeholders, the opposition with the ruling party, to be together. That what the president wants, it is trickled down to the grassroots.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Political activist DANTE SAUNDERS has accused some civil servants of frustrating the United Party for National Development Administration development agenda. He says some ministers are underperforming because some technocrats who are still loyal to the previous government do not want to adjust to the UPND government's style of leadership. He says those who are calling for cabinet reshuffles and the firing of some ministers are justified, but that they should exercise patience and allow President Hakainde Hichilema to make the right decisions at the right time. He notes that while some ministers are underperforming, others have performed exceptionally well.
I'm sure the president hears the cries of the people, but let me equally say that it is not an easy task, considering that we have a situation in government today where you have at least 60% of those people who are civil servants still in the system. And it's making life very, very, very difficult for not only ministers, but anybody that is trying to change the mindset of how to drive the UPND agenda. It's making life very, very difficult. I mean, that goes without saying, and it's an issue that the president is quite aware of. But equally, I'm not also saying that everybody has performed extremely well. No, I think that it is true that some people didn't perform as to expectations of the people of this country. And I'm also equally aware of the fact that we are not talking about a political party here. When we look at a minister, we look at a minister or a civil servant as that of the government. So their cries are quite, acceptable. And but I'm saying, please, some of the downfalls of some of our ministers and some of our civil servants that we have there, it is not because they have failed. They would like to pass all benchmarks and stuff like that there, but there have also been a lot of hindrances, and that's a fact. There's been a lot of hindrances in certain quarters.
Members of the public seeking partial withdrawal of their National Pension Scheme Authority NAPSA contributions in Lusaka have continued to flock the NAPSA offices despite government's advice that the process be done online. A check by Camnet television at the NAPSA offices found long queues of people submitting their application forms with the hope of being among the first persons to access the money. Those spoken to have explained that the physical process is easier than the online platforms, hence flocking to NAPSA. Meanwhile, the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia Executive Director Bishop Andrew Mwenda has called on stakeholders to engage citizens in financial literacy to include practical application in everyday life, including banking, budgeting, handling debt and credit, as well as investments. More in this report.
Despite the advice from government to use online platforms to apply for the partial withdrawal of the 20% of their pension benefits for those who qualify, the advice does not seem to be yielding results, as some Lusaka residents have continued to flock at the National Pension Schemes Authority NAPSA offices with the intention to be among the early birds to benefit from the 20% partial withdrawal. This has come following President Hakainde Hichilema's decision to sign into law the National Pension Schemes Amendment Bill of 2023, which allows for the partial withdrawal of pension. Some of the pensioners spoken to have, however, expressed ignorance in the use of online platforms to register for their benefit and says it is the reason they have decided to physically visit NAPSA offices to have the process done from here.
Here is faster than doing it online. The reason being it has got some challenges there for you to have the system to be done. Yeah, but here even the process itself is faster than the way we were expecting to be.
Era nomba nendala makatushinga shile saya kuiso kaidisha ishi efo usende ko shinono pakuti wakula kwa kanda abana bashara balikala mu nangu wafu atsoke bantu kwa bashaka ku campusa at least
okay. Others are, however, excited over the development, saying the process at NAPSA is quick and that they are eagerly waiting to have part of their benefits paid to them even before they can retire.
Well, the process is a bit flexible. Like in my case, I think I've only spent 20 to 30 minutes here. I decided to come here because of certain few technicalities that I was experiencing when I wanted to do the process online. So I think all in all what I can say is I think the lines are moving, as you can see. You want to claim say 50% and you have a good plan for it. I think it's also okay. But again, if you look at the issue from the long-term point of view, I think 20% is fair.
Meanwhile, the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia Executive Director Bishop Andrew Mwenda has praised President Hakainde Hichilema for signing into law the National Pension Schemes Amendment Bill of 2023, but has called on stakeholders to engage citizens in financial literacy, as majority of Zambian adults are financially illiterate.
We take this opportunity to call on stakeholders to engage citizens in financial literacy, to include practical application in everyday life, including banking, budgeting, handling debt, and credit and investment or enterprise. We have been made aware that recently the 2020 FISCOP survey, which measured financial health and financial literacy for the first time, found that only 13.6% of adults were financially healthy and 23.6% were financially literate.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Meanwhile, political activist Charles Mwelwa has observed that the partial withdrawal of NAPSA benefits is commendable, but that the threshold should have been increased to 50% as opposed to the current 20%. Mr. Mwelwa notes that the influx of people flocking NAPSA offices to withdraw 20% of their savings is evidence of the prevailing social and economic challenges. Mr. Mwelwa has, however, observed that it will be difficult for the majority of citizens, especially low-income earners, to do significant things with their money owing to the high cost of living.
For NAPSA, my own personal opinion is that it could be a good move. But I think the percentage at which people have been subjected is not enough. Because when you look at the 20%, I think it was, if the government had made it at 50%, or rather even 60%, it could have been better. Then the other thing that I would want to appeal, to request the government, is to make sure that let them create a conducive environment in terms of business. Business is simply very bad, and it's something that is becoming very terrible, that even these people are actually going to get the partial withdrawal from NAPSA are actually not going to appreciate it. The cost of living has just become something else.
Advocates for National Development and Democracy has re-echoed its stance on the mining operations on the copper belt, with a specific focus on Konkola copper mines and Vedanta issues, including Mopani. In a walk-in interview with Camnet TV, Organization Executive Director Samuel Banda says the silence taken by government on this matter is of great concern. He notes that the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development, Paul Kabuswe, assured the nation that a new owner will be announced during the first quarter of 2023, but up to now nothing tangible has been said. Mr. Banda has therefore called on the minister to take advantage of his presence in Chililabombwe to tell the nation the status quo. He has reminded Mr. Kabuswe, as a lawmaker from the Copper Belt, of the challenges being faced by the residents due to the crippled functioning of the mines in the area. Meanwhile, ANDD has advised the government to consider the programs by the DANTE to inject more capital in KCM and an increased resource allocation for their corporate social responsibility.
We wish to call upon the Minister of Mines, Honorable Paul Kabuswe, to take advantage of his presence on the Copper Belt to update residents on the government categorical position on KCM Vedanta resources negotiations and as well as Mopani issues. It is very imperative that people know regarding the progress government has made concerning KCM Vedanta resources negotiations and Mopani issues. Honorable Paul Kabuswe, being a Copper Belt based member of Parliament and the Minister of Mines, fully understands the economic challenges, anxiety, joblessness, and loss of business opportunities resulting in effective operations of the two strategic mines, Mopani and KCM. We therefore call upon the Honorable Minister to give an update on the clear government roadmap regarding KCM and Mopani. Our position is that government should take advantage of Vedata's proposed investment recapitalization package of $3 billion USD and $20 million USD corporate social responsibility package as a matter of urgency and hand over KCM to Vedanta Resources so that the mine can begin to operate and restore economic viability on the Copper Belt and in the nation.
You're watching Camnet Television and not just another channel. We'll take a break. Join us for more news after the break.
This Friday, 23rd April 2023 at 20:45 hours, invite your friends, relatives and neighbors to watch our program Against Poverty Eradication Network in Zambia. The panel will comprise of Dr. Reda, agriculture scientist from Egypt. Your host, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba. Join the vision of eradicating poverty out from Zambia and empower over 5 million nationals. Youths of Zambia, your season is here for you to be financially empowered. Watch the program exclusively on Camnet Television Channel 274, on DSTV Channel 98, GoTV and Topstar Channel 106. Inform others. Let's build a strong financial base together. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
This Friday, 23rd April 2023 at 20:45 hours, invite your friends, relatives and neighbors to watch our program Against Poverty Eradication Network in Zambia. The panel will comprise of Dr. Reda, agriculture scientist from Egypt. Your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba. Join the vision of eradicating poverty out from Zambia and empower over 5 million nationals. Youths of Zambia, your season is here for you to be financially empowered. Watch the program exclusively on Camnet Television Channel 274, on DSTV Channel 98, GoTV and Topstar Channel 106. Inform others. Let's build a strong financial base together. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
We'll continue with our news. Health Minister Sylvia Masewo says there is nothing sinister about the $70 million United States deal that Zambia, through the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency ZAMSA, signed with an Egyptian company for the supply of medicines. Ms. Masewo, who spoke shortly after touring the Kakoso Hospital in Chililawambwe Township on the Copperbelt, says the deal is simply an attempt by government to get ZAMSA to buy medicines in bulk from a credible source whose pricing is good and that the time frame for the delivery will be shorter. The health minister says ZAMSA has in the past been failing to continuously supply medicines and that government is trying to ensure that ZAMSA procures enough pharmaceuticals that will last a period of 3 months. Earlier this week, the leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Mundubile, raised concerns over the single-sourced procurement of drugs from an Egyptian company, accusing the government of corruption, and suggested that the procurement did not meet the criteria for single sourcing.
ZAMSA should improve. How do they improve? We should get to a point where we buy bulk, and when we buy bulk, it should be at least for a minimum of 3 months, so that when it reduces to 1 month, at that stage, more stock should come to fill up the 2 months that the stock has finished. That's what we call a good, sufficient supply chain that is working. At the moment, ZAMSA is yet to stabilize in that regard. And it is because of that as government, we did direct ZAMSA to buy bulk. And one of the options for bulk buying was the Egypt deal. There's nothing sinister about the Egypt deal, but simply an attempt by government to get ZAMSA to get bulk from a source that we consider credible. Secondly, a source that we think even the price is good for the value, there's value for money. And thirdly, that the time frame could be shorter than when you are buying from very far places. We are hopeful that in the first quarter of this year, which is end of April, we hope that we should have stabilized, because in the first quarter, there are 2 bulk purchases that ZAMSA has made.
Citizens Environmental and Social Concern CESCO has called on the government to make extended producer responsibility regulation compulsory for all manufacturers of products with plastic packaging. CESCO Executive Director Conwell Hakapia says this is a crucial step towards reducing the amount of plastic waste that enters our environment. He notes that while some companies have voluntarily adopted EPR, like the Zambian brewery's Manjapamozi project, it is not enough to rely on their individual actions. He says by making manufacturers accountable for the plastic packaging they produce, EPR can incentivize them to design products that are easier to recycle, reduce unnecessary packaging, and ensure that their products are disposed of in an environmentally responsible way.
The impact of their products throughout their life cycle.
and it includes disposal and recycling. By making manufacturers accountable for the plastic packaging they produce, EPR can incentivize them to design products that are easier to recycle and reduce unnecessary packaging, and ensure that their products are disposed of in a very environmentally responsible way. Therefore, we are calling on the government to make EPR compulsory for all manufacturers of products with plastic packaging. And this is a very crucial step towards reducing the amount of plastic waste that enters our environment. While some companies have voluntarily adopted the EPR, like the Zambia breweries and the Manjapamozi project, it is not enough to rely on individual actions. We need strong and consistent regulations from the government to ensure that manufacturers take responsibility for their products' waste. And making EPR compulsory will not only reduce plastic pollution, but also create new jobs in the recycling industry and support a transition that the new Dawn government has taken through the circular economy in the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. And we once more would like to urge the government to act swiftly and implement EPR as a mandatory policy to all manufacturers of products with plastic packaging, because we cannot continue on this same trajectory and continue ignoring the devastating impact of plastic waste on our environment, on wildlife, and human life.
The Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock is this year expected to vaccinate 200,000 calves against East Coast fever disease across 5 provinces, namely Southern, Eastern, Central, Lusaka and Copperbelt. Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock Director Dr. Geoffrey Muka confirmed the development to National Agricultural Information Services (NAIS) in an exclusive interview during the ECF Infect and Treatment Method ITM Planning and Review meeting held in Kabwe recently. Dr. Muka said that his ministry has set the 200,000 calves to be vaccinated target, looking at the capacities of his ministry and the support from government.
These are officers from the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. They are gathered here to plan and review the East Coast fever infect and treatment methods. In addressing them, Director in the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, Dr. Geoffrey Muka, revealed that his ministry is this year expected to vaccinate 200,000 calves against East Coast fever disease.
Indeed, the target for calf immunization for ECF, the East Coast fever, the target is 200,000 calves for the 5 provinces that are doing the immunization against ECF. We have Southern Province, Lusaka Province, Central Province, Copperbelt Province and Eastern Province.
Dr. Muka also disclosed that government is in the process of procuring motorbikes and motor vehicles to aid the transportation challenges that these officers face.
We are targeting every camp to have a motorcycle. The latest should be by March next year in terms of delivery. But in terms of procurement, we are procuring this year. We need to finish this challenge of transport this year, and next year should be done. We are procuring vehicles for all the districts.
And speaking earlier, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock Permanent Secretary Dr. Anna Songolo called for accountability of resources.
The President and everybody below has said our primary goal is to improve the accountability of the civil service to the people of Zambia. If we buy a motorbike, it's sacrifice. Sacrifice of all those taxpayers who give us money for us to be able to buy these tools that we use. You are entitled to a job where you give a service. So when you are given tools and other things, there are things we need to look after properly so that you can do your work and the person who comes into that office after you have left also works. Let's be more responsible in the way we look after the resources that we are given.
Meanwhile, Enhanced Smallholder Livestock Investment Program, ISLIP Coordinator, Dr. Gregory Mululuma, said that the ISLIP project is funded by IFAD.
This meeting is a meeting for staff who are going to implement an activity that is funded by the Enhanced smallholder livestock investment program, which is ESLIP, and this program is funded by IFAD. So this particular activity relates to immunization of calves against corridor disease.
A single vaccination shot protects animals against East Coast fever disease for life. Helen Witty reporting from Kabwe, Central Province.
This is Camnet Television News. We'll take our second and final break. Join us for international sports news after the break.
This Friday, 23rd April 2023, at 20:45 hours, invite your friends, relatives, and neighbors to watch our program Against Poverty Eradication Network in Zambia. The panel will comprise of Dr. Reda, agriculture scientist from Egypt. Your host, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba. Join the vision of eradicating poverty out from Zambia and empower over 5 million nationals. Youths of Zambia, your season is here for you to be financially empowered. Watch the program exclusively on Camnet Television Channel 274, on DSTV Channel 98, GoTV, and Topstar Channel 106. Inform others. Let's build a strong financial base together. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, will this Sunday face Mrs. Football Academy. Time 15 hours. Venue Mrs. Compound. Come and enjoy entertaining football. Camnet Stars Football Club, a team with a vision and formed for greatness. This Friday, 23rd April 2023, at 20:45 hours, invite your friends, relatives, and neighbors to watch our program Against Poverty Eradication Network in Zambia. The panel will comprise of Dr. Reda, agriculture scientist from Egypt. Your host, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba. Join the vision of eradicating poverty out from Zambia and empower over 5 million nationals. Youths of Zambia, your season is here for you to be financially empowered. Watch the program exclusively on Camnet Television Channel 274, on DSTV Channel 98, GoTV, and Topstar Channel 106. Inform others. Let's build a strong financial base together. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. And now in international news, damaged residential and commercial buildings, civilians sheltering in their homes with dwindling food supplies, power outages and a lack of running water. The power struggle between Sudan's top generals continues to cause devastation in the country. Kenya's president denounced Wednesday of a systematic pattern of atrocities. The army and the rapid support forces said they would commit to a 24-hour ceasefire on Wednesday, April 19. However, fighting continued in Khartoum. President William RUTO urged to silence the guns in the region and on the continent. There is real danger that the escalation of hostilities in Sudan could implicate external, regional and international actors and degenerate into a security and humanitarian crisis on a disastrous scale. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
Damaged residential and commercial buildings, civilians sheltering in their homes with dwindling food supplies and the lack of running water, the power struggle between Sudan's top generals continues to cause devastation. Kenya's president denounced Wednesday a systematic pattern of atrocities.
We are also deeply concerned that members of the diplomatic community have been targeted and civilians in general have been caught in the crossfire. a pattern of systematic violation of established norms and principles of international humanitarian law is clearly emerging, and this situation is evolving into a threat to regional and international peace and security.
The army and the rapid support forces said they would commit to a 24-hour ceasefire on Wednesday. However, fighting continued in Khartoum. President RUTO urged to silence the guns in the region.
There is real danger that the escalation of hostilities in Sudan could implicate external, regional, and international actors and degenerate into a security and humanitarian crisis on a disastrous scale. It is time to silence the guns in our region and continent so that we can focus on the urgent work of enabling our people to pursue opportunities and actualize their aspirations in peace and tranquility.
In peace efforts, the UN chief is set to meet Thursday with the heads of the African Union, the Arab League and regional bloc, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development. Fighting raged in Khartoum, a city of 5 million people, as thick black smoke rose from buildings after a new ceasefire failed to materialize on Wednesday. Some residents have started leaving the city by car or on foot. Further east in Port Sudan, residents hope for a resolution to the conflict. The current situation in the city of Port Sudan is safe, and the Sudanese army has taken over all the rapid support forces locations. Security is back in all of the Red Sea state, and the Sudanese people are safe. We pray to God that Khartoum will be safe and back to stability in the near future. We hope that the army and the rapid support forces can reach an agreement so that Sudan can become stable and so good can prevail in all the country, God willing. If the focus has been on heavy fighting in the capital between the army and the paramilitaries RSF, battles have been reported across Sudan. Nearly 300 people have been killed and over 3,000 wounded since fighting began, the UN Health Agency said.
South Africa is in the grip of an energy crisis that critics say is much deeper than the authorities openly acknowledge. The periodic electricity blackouts are expected to reach a critical stage as winter arrives in the southern hemisphere and sends energy demand soaring, according to experts.
We're facing a dire situation, and if not looked at, we could find ourselves at stage 10 load shedding in the peak of winter.
Over the past 15 years, South Africa's electricity crisis has been deepening, with power shortages blamed on insufficient investments in the country's aging coal-fired power plants.
We've seen economic flight of capital. People would rather go elsewhere. Companies are not investing as much. They would rather look for other areas to actually invest in. Ultimately, this has affected our economy over the last 15 years and will continue to do so until something is done urgently.
To manage the shortfalls, the state-owned power company Eskom imposes daily scheduled rationing to cope with the production shortfalls.
The Minister of Electricity also does not have the necessary powers to stop load shedding. Those powers lie within the Department of Public Enterprises and the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. So you basically have a powerless minister, but who has been given this incredible task of stopping load shedding in the country.
Under pressure to end the power cuts, President Cyril Ramaphosa declared in February a national state of disaster, a legal move introduced to prioritize efforts to address the problem.
It's now time for sports news. The Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, says the World Football Governing Body, FIFA, will for the first time offer grants to women's football clubs across the world that will contribute players to their national teams set to compete at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. Speaking at the Zambia Premier League consultative meeting held Thursday, FAZ President Andrew Kamanga says the decision was arrived at during the FIFA Congress held in Rwanda in March 2023. Mr. Kamanga says this will be in addition to the $960,000 United States dollars which the Zambians have received from FIFA as a preparatory grant for the World Cup. FAZ will also support the women's clubs with an undisclosed token of appreciation for their effort in the league, which is yet to attract sponsorship.
And this is why we have no reason as FAZ to continue to hold on to the sponsorship that comes to the Super League, whether it's in form of the main sponsor or the broadcast partner. We will cede that sponsorship to ZPL, and we hope that ZPL will build on that sponsorship so that ultimately the clubs can be self-sustaining based on the commercial value of the league. With regard to the national team, particularly for women's football, again, I wish to congratulate all of you who've been part and parcel of our journey in the last couple of years. We have recorded good success with the under-17, under-20, and senior team in COSAFA tournaments. Last year, we had Green Buffaloes representing the country in the CAF competition as a result of emerging as the champion for the clubs within COSAFA. So again, we can give a round of applause to Green Buffaloes for that achievement.
That FAZ football note brings us to the end of the news tonight. But before we go, the headlines once again. UPND youths urge President Hakainde Hichilema not to relent in discouraging political violence. NAPSA overwhelmed as people prefer physical over online services to claim their money. People are justified for calling on cabinet reshuffles, charges DANTE SAUNDERS. In international news, Kenya's RUTO concerned Sudan crisis may deepen threatening region. And in sports news, FIFA pledges to offer grants to Women's World Cup contributing clubs. Our Camnet verse for the day is coming from Psalms 145, verse 3 to 4. Great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. His greatness no one can fathom. One generation will commend your works to another. They will tell of your mighty acts. Thank you once again for watching Camnet Television Main News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.